Good morning, everyone. So, next topic of our unit 2, that is chromatography 2, is ion exchange chromatography. So, ion exchange chromatography is also one type of chromatography, and it is also a similar type of column chromatography working model. How it works means just like column chromatography. Okay, so in this topic, uh, generally we deal this already. We dealt with these terms: influent, effluent, elution, eluent, and eluate. So out of these three, we use three. Last three, that is elution. Elution is the process by which the adsorbed ions are removed from the column. So whatever ions or whatever components we are separated, generally what we do, we transfer those on the surface of the stationary phase. So when we introduce the mixture on stationary phase surface of the stationary phase, then what happens? The components or some ions may have show different affinities towards the stationary phase. So the components are ion which has more affinity towards the stationary phase, those will be adsorbed or held firmly by stationary phase, and the remaining will move or travel some distance. So after that, what happens? What we do, we introduce a eluent. Eluent is nothing but a mobile phase. So the mobile phase, what we do, once we introduce the mobile phase, then what happens? These adsorbed ions are removed or taken away from column or stationary phase. So that process is known as elution, and the solution which used in this elution, that is eluent, or we can also say that one as mobile phase. Eluate. Eluate means the whatever substance removed or whatever ions removed from the column, so that is known as eluate. The solution obtained as a result of elution means the whatever solution we received from the column, that is known as eluate. So elution, eluent, eluate. Okay, so next come to history of the ion exchange chromatography. So in 1850s, H. Thomson and G. T. Way, who proposed that the soil can remove the potassium and ammonium salts from water with release of equivalent amount of calcium salt. So the first they revealed that the soil can also act as a column, or we can say as an ion exchanger. So it exchange calcium with potassium or ammonia. And next, second, then natural and synthetic inorganic cation exchangers were used for softening of hard water after by work of Guns in 1913. So in 1913, the German scientist has developed a natural and synthetic inorganic cation exchanger. By means of that, he purified the water. So softening of hard water means removing contaminants from the hard water. So purification of water, or you can say decontamination. And then 1927, geolite. So frequently we use geolite for this purpose, softening of water. Geolite is a mineral Geolite is a mineral. With the help of that, when we prepare a stationary phase, so generally that stationary phase is incorporated in column. So that's why he said that geolite mineral columns. So directly we can purchase stationary phase present in a vertical or cylindrical glass tube, that is known as column. So the column are used to remove the interfering calcium and magnesium ions from the solution to determine the sulfate content of water. So here see the sulfates SO4 minus 2 are also a one of impurity, or we can say mineral, which cause hardness to the water. So when this sulfate interact with calcium and magnesium, it will form calcium sulfate as well as magnesium sulfate. So this calcium sulfate and magnesium sulfate, these are the salts of calcium and magnesium, those cause permanent hardness of water. So hardness of water, two types: temporary hardness, permanent hardness. Temporary hardness, what is that? So simply by heating we can eradicate or we can remove the hardness. So the temporary hardness caused by whom? Calcium magnesium bicarbonates. When we heat those calcium and magnesium bicarbonates, those can be converted into carbonates. Okay, carbonates, and carbonate is a white substance, and that will settle on the bottom of the our vessel. So here, so that is temporary hardness, and but whereas permanent hardness is caused by whom? Sulfates of calcium and magnesium. So this can be removed. Permanent hardness of water can be eradicated or removed by using zeolite. And molten ion exchange resin were first used in 1935 by Adams and Holmes. So molten ion exchange, so resins. So here see, up to now we term that one as what, columns, but here this zeolite is a mineral that is inorganic substance, and here in now onwards in modern ion exchange we are using a resins. Resins are nothing but the product of polymerization reaction. Okay, now onwards we are using a organic ion exchange. So particularly that is obtained by which reaction? Polymerization reaction. So the product obtained in polymerization reaction is known as resin. Oh, next move to second. Next here see in 1940s the modern ion exchange chromatography was developed during the wartime Manhattan project. Wartime Manhattan project. So Manhattan is the one of university located in Manhattan of America. So they developed this modern ion exchange chromatography. This technique was used to separate and concentrate the radioactive elements needed to make an atom bomb. So atomic bomb. So for atomic bomb, we use what? Generally uranium, thorium, nuclear radioactive elements, and this to separate those radioactive elements from the ore, they used this technique, and already same technique we have used in the separation of lanthanide elements. Okay, ion exchange method, chromatography exchange method, so extraction of lanthanides. So in last year, in second year, we have studied about extraction of lanthanide. So this extraction of lanthanide is carried out by using uh, ion exchange chromatography as well as chromatography, or we can also use solvent extraction also. But at industrial level, the generally at industrial level they follow ion exchange chromatography. In 1970s, Hamish Small and co-workers of Dow, a chemical company, it is a company, developed a ion exchange chromatography useful for the automated analysis. Automated analysis means see whatever eluate. So this is eluate. So whatever eluate obtained from this column, that will be studied automatically. So means they developed a software. That software will study means they will provide that software will provide qualitative, quantitative information. Qualitative in the cells, the composition of particular element or substance, and quantity means how much quantity present in that sample. So this is automated software that is developed by this company. An exchanger used for automated analysis. You uses weaker ion exchange. Chromatography uses weaker ionic resin for the stationary phase and a neutralizing stripper column to remove the background of a backgrounded element. Okay, so this is principle how it works. So let's see the definition. So this definition, ion exchange may be defined as the reversible reaction in which free mobile ions of a solid called ion exchange are exchanged for different ions of smaller charges present in solution. So here see what happens, ion exchange. So ion exchange, exchanging means here similar charges. That means a cation of solid resin or solid in which the free mobile ions of a solid called ion exchange are exchanged for different ions. So here see the whatever ion present in solution. So first that will be exchanged with ion of our resin, and then what we do, we introduce the mobile phase. Then what happens again, the ion which is attached to resin, that will be exchanged with ions of mobile phase. So in short, we can say reversible reaction. Reversible reaction means first what happens when we introduce the sample solution or mixture on the stationary phase or column, then what happens, the whatever ions present in that sample solution, those will be exchanged with ion of resin or column. So that is first reaction. And reversible means that is second reaction. Again, what is that second reaction when it happens? When we introduce mobile phase. So our mobile phase also contains the ions. So these ions will be replaced by the first adsorbed ion. So that's why he used reversible reaction. So here we can say reversible ion exchange reaction takes place during this whole process. Or else, in other words, the separation in ion exchange chromatography is based on the competition of different ionic compounds of the sample for the active sites and ion exchange resin. So it is somewhat more clear than previous one. So here what happens, a competitive reaction. So competitive reaction, which reaction? Exchange reaction. So cation will be exchanged by another cation. So that exchange is known as cation exchange. If one anion is exchanged by another anion, so then we say that reaction as anion exchange. So here this competition reaction, so exchange reaction takes place. So when the first ion which will be exchanged with second, so that competition arises in between those two. Okay. For what? So active sites on the ion exchange resin. So in next slide you can easily understand. It says here, see, this is blue part. So whatever positive charges, so these are stationary phase. So this is stationary phase, or we can say resin. So this resin end will have a functional group. So that functional group may have two polar ends. So first this positive polar end, that is attached to whom? Ion exchanger, and the negative will be attached to this one. So for example, if you take COOH, so what is COOH? Carboxylic functional group. So COOH part will attach to the resin, and H plus part will be attached to COO minus. So here that is known as cation exchange. So in that cation exchange, what happened? H plus of resin will be exchanged with a cation present in a solution. So anion exchanger means what? If you take the ammonium salts, ammonium NH3 Cl minus, NH3 plus Cl minus. So in that the NH3 part will attach to the resin, and Cl minus will be attached to whom? Positive charge. So this minus will be exchanged or replaced with another anion present in solution. So this is negatively charged analyte anion attracted to the positive surface, and this is positively charged analyte cation that is attached to negatively charged surface. So this negatively charged surface is nothing but resin, and that is attached to the resin. It cannot be movable. It is immobilized, or you can say it is a part of resin. This is a anion exchanger. So in that anion exchanger, except this anion remaining part, that is plus part, it attached to whom? Resin. So here the minus part will be replaceable. In this case, plus part is the exchanger. Next, the principle of separation. So here you can easily understand. This is by reversible exchange of ions between the ions present on the solution and those present on the ion exchange region. Here, see. So this is the ion present on exchanger. This is the positive charge, that is cation present on, this is ion exchanger. So this will be replaced with cation of mobile phase. This will be replaced by anion of mobile phase. So at that time it can be termed as anion exchanger, and it can be termed as cation exchange. So see, cation exchanger. So this part, the R minus K plus. So this whole blue color part is R minus and this K plus. This combinedly known as stationary phase, or you can say resin. So here the movable part or replaceable part is what? Plus. So here see K plus. So this is our resin, and this resin, when the solution is introduced on the surface of resin, that what happened? This positive charge, this cation will be exchanged with the cation of solution. So then we can get this one, and this will be freed. So this is known as cation exchange. So here this cation is exchanged by this cation. So that's why this process is known as cation exchange. Okay, this plus is exchanged with this one. So the separation of cation using cation exchange resin, the cation to be separated are present in the solution and exchanged for the similar ion present in actually present on cation exchange resin. A solid matrix, the exchange can be represented by the following. So this is solid matrix. This is solid matrix. This K plus is what? The cation exchange resin. This is the ion K plus present on cation exchange resin. X plus is present in solution. Next one, this is anion. Uh, the, uh, the cations retained by the solid matrix of ion exchange resin can be eluted by using buffer solution. So this is continuation of previous slide. The cations retained by the solid matrix. So solid matrix means this one. This is the cation remained on solid matrix. This R minus, so this R minus is known as solid matrix. Okay. This retained on solid matrix again will be exchanged, or it can be eluted or removed by using a buffer solution of different strength, and hence the separation of cations can be effective. So here see, the in first step what happened, the exchange takes places, and again what happened, reversible exchange. When it is reversible exchange taken place, when we introduce a eluate, eluent, eluent or mobile phase. Next, second one is anion exchange. So here this is what our solid resin. So this solid resin contains what, R plus, it is attached to whom, our resin, and Cl minus it can be replaced. So this Cl minus will be replaced with whom, X minus. So thereby what we get, R plus X minus, and this X minus is retained on solid surface. So it again it can be removed by using mobile phase. So here see, exchange again by using buffer solutions we can remove. So here see, so this is one example, ion exchange resin. So this is ion exchange chromatography, anion exchange chromatography. This is the mixture of amino acids. As we know that amino acids are three types. So we have some neutral amino acids, or acidic amino acids, or basic amino acids. So acidic amino acid means generally what happens, it may have COOH groups. So in that what happens, when we change the pH, what happens? If we maintain the pH less than 7, then that amino acid exists as anion, COO minus. And we have another type of amino acid, that is basic amino acids. In that what happens, they may have NH2 groups. Amino acid means, amino means NH2, acidic means COOH. So if any amino acid which has one COOH group or one NH2 group, that can be considered as a neutral amino acid. Okay. But whereas some amino acids may have more than one functional groups than another. So for example, if you take acidic amino acid, for example, aspartic acid or glutamic acid, in that what happens, one NH2 group is present, but at the same time two COOH groups are present. And in basic amino acids, for example, histidine, lysine, in that one only COOH group, one COOH group is present, but whereas in case of NH2, more than one NH2 groups are present. So when we change the pH, generally what happens at room temperature and aqueous state, the neutral amino acid exists as a Jupiter ion. Jupiter ion means it may possess same ion may have two charges, COO minus. So amino acid means what? One amino group, that is NH2, and another group COOH. COOH is acid. What is the role of acid? The acid donates H plus ion. So then when the H plus ion removed, then what happens? It may exist as COO minus. At the, at the same time, the NH2 is organic base, that NH2 accept H plus and it may becomes as NH3 plus. So that means if one ion which has two, if one ion which carry two charges is said to be Jupiter ion. So that means neutral amino acids may have one positive charge, one negative charge. But whereas in case of acidic amino acids, it may have negative charge, and basic amino acids may carry positive charge. So we can change the their oxidation states, the sorry, uh, ionic states by varying or by changing pH. So here see we have two negative charged amino acids and two positively charged amino acids. So here see this is the our bed or resin, and this is plus is exchangeable. Plus is what? Exchangeable. So it will be exchanged with this plus. Okay. So or else what happens? This plus will attach to whom? Uh, okay. See, sorry. So this is immobilized, what do we say? Immobilized cation surface. So this at immobilized cation surface, what happens? Here, see. This is cation ion exchange, and this is anion exchange. Okay, so this is our immobilized cation exchange surface. So here what happens? The cation immobilized cation. Actually, this cation will be exchanged with this cation. Okay, so but he shown that electrostatic force, due to electrostatic force, what happened? Binding of negatively charged amino acids to the immobilized cation surface. So this cation surface binds with anion through electrostatic force. At the same time, the plus charge, what happens? The repulsion takes place. So due to this, what happened? The minus charge of amino acids are attached to the immobilized cation surface. So next, what happens? Due to repulsions, these will be these 3 plus will be, what happens? This slowly diffuses downward. When we introduce elution, what happens? This plus 3 will be removed. So separation of negatively charged, actually positively charged. So here see, actually he's supposed to show another part, that is minus. So it is nothing but like this. It is Cr plus. This is R plus. He is supposed to show the minus charge, that is Cl minus, or he can supposed to show minus 1 minus. So he may not be shown that, so he didn't show that. So what happened? This Cl minus is exchanged with the negatively charged amino acid. This is negatively charged amino acids. So what happens when this negatively charged, if when we are using an anion exchanger? So here see, this is anion exchanger. So these cations will be what happens? They are repelled by positive charge of resin. This repelled by this one. Okay, so that's why these positively charged amino acids are eluated first. Okay. So next, classification of ion exchange resin. So here see the terminology. So generally what we use, so ion exchange resins. So generally the resins, ion exchange resins, this is used as a stationary phase. And as like in normal chromatography, here also we may have three components. One is stationary phase, second one is mobile phase, and third one is uh, solution or reaction mixture. So here our stationary phase is nothing but ion exchange resins. So these ion exchange resins are six types. The surface of the resin, so sources of the resin. So depending on this availability or nature, these ion exchange resins are classified into six types. First one is on the basis of source. Second one is chemical nature. Third one is functional group. Fourth one is structural type. Fifth one is physical property, and sixth one is chemical structure. So see, first ion exchange resin should have the following requirements. So that means what type of resins we supposed to select. So our resin must be chemically stable. So chemically stable means when we introduce the sample solution or mobile phase, so it should not be react with either, and it should be insoluble in common solvent. So here see what we do. So we prepare a solution. How? By using uh, the substance or aniline dissolving in mobile phase. So our stationary phase should be insoluble in our mobile phase, or you can say eluent, or here he mentioned as solvents, and it should have a sufficient degree of cross linkage. So that means due to that cross linkage, what happens? It will be immobilized or firmly attached at column. And the swollen resin must be denser than water. So swollen resin means when we introduce the reaction mixture, what happens? Our resin will absorb that whatever solvent. Due to that solvent, it what happens? It swells and ubbutum. It must contain sufficient number of ion exchange groups. So ion exchange groups means this one. So actually this one, it it should contain a sufficient number of ion exchange groups. So these are the characteristic properties of ion exchange. So before going to select ion exchange, we must consider these things. And next thing, classification of resin, ion exchange resin on the basis of source. So sources means it may be neutral or synthetic. So neutral means natural, sorry, not neutral. So natural, so cation and anion. So we have natural cation exchange zeolite clay. Clay means matti bunkaman, and anion dolomite. Generally it is a mineral. And synthetic means ఇప్పుడు మనం తయారు చేసేది organic and inorganic and organic resins. So based on nature sources, these resins are two types. So we have naturally available resins and synthetically the man-made resins. And next, inorganic resins. So synthetic means man-made. So these man-made resins are organic resins. Organic resins are polymeric resin matrix. So this polymeric resin matrix may composed of polystyrene, the sites of exchangeable functional groups, and divinyl benzene. So cross-linking agent. So organic polymers may composed of these two. One is polystyrene resin, second are divinyl benzene. So in polystyrene resins, the sites of exchangeable functional groups are generally what we say. It may be attached as it may be COOH groups or SO3H group or acidic. In next slide, we will discuss. We will see the classification of resins on the basis of chemical nature. And next, according to the chemical nature. So here, next one. So four types: strong cation exchange resins, weak cation exchange resins, strong anion exchange resins, weak anion exchange resins. So strong cation exchange resins. So here the cation, in case of if this is our resin, polystyrene. So this is our polystyrene matrix. So generally this is the matrix. So this is the matrix. So this is the matrix. This matrix may can have a functional group. So this matrix may have functional group. If that functional group is sulfonic acid, that means S3OH. So this group is attached to styrene or divinyl benzene. So just these are the resins, or we can say the supporting medium. This resin may have attached to a functional group. So if that functional group is SO3H, that is a sulfonic group. So in that sulfonic group, sulfonic acid, as we know that one of the strongest inorganic acid, so it will readily gives up H plus. So that means what happens? H plus means that is a cation. So the sulfonic acid group promotes which exchange, cation exchange. And weak in the case of sulfonic group is replaced by COOH group. COOH group is acidic in organic acid. This one is inorganic acid. As we know that inorganic acids are far acidic than organic acid. So if our resin contains COOH group, and that is considered as weakly acidic. Why? Because COOH, it is also acid. Acid means it donates H plus ion, but the tendency of donating of H plus ion is less compared to sulfonic acid. So that's why it is considered as a weakly acidic cation exchange. Again, it is attached to acrylic or divinylic benzene copolymer. That is resin. Strongly basic anions. So the quaternary ammonium groups N3H, N3 or dash NR3, NR3 plus. So those are tertiary ammoniums. So again, these groups are attached to styrene or divinyl benzene copolymer. NR3 plus and X minus. So here this plus is attached to whom? This styrene, and it is a cation. It may obviously may have, so like this, X minus. This is Rn plus NR3 plus, and it is also contains what, a Cl minus or anion. So this anion will be exchanged with another anion. So that's why this is known as anion exchange. Weakly means here see the tertiary ammonium groups, but here we are taking only primary and secondary amines. Next, classification on the basis of functional group. So here see strong cations, functional group is SO3H, just know. Weak acidic, COOH. Strong basic, N3 plus, actually it is NR3 plus, and weak NHR primary and amines. Here's a strong secondary and tertiary amines, and this is secondary, primary and ordinary amines. Like thus, a cation exchanger is nothing but a polymeric anion to which active cation is attached. So in cation exchanger, so this is cation exchanger. This is cation exchanger. In that cation exchanger, the resin is what? COO minus, and cation that one attached to H plus, K plus. So a cation exchanger is nothing but a polymeric anion, blue color minus, to which active cations are attached. So this is anion exchanger to which a cation, active cation is attached. So this is known as what? Cation exchanger. And in case of anion exchanger, the ion exchanger is what? Positively charged exchanger to which active anion will be attached. So such resins are known as ion exchange resins. Okay, this is. When cation exchanger is kept in a solution of salt, some of the H plus ions of the resin enters into the solution in equivalent amount of cation of salt get attached to the resin. So here see, you can understand by looking at this example. So here see, so here X is nothing but COO minus H plus. Okay, so this is part, this is ion exchanger, anion exchanger. It is anion exchanger has active site of cation, that is H plus. Okay, so when it is here H plus is the counter ion, cation, exchangeable ion. So exchangeable ion is nothing but counter ion in terms of incoming cation. Incoming cation లోనికి వచ్చేదాన్ని మనం కన్సిడర్ చేసుకుంటాం. So they are usually supplied in a salt form. So COH groups, COH plus will be replaced by whom? What? Na plus. So this is nothing but a salt form. COOH, sulfonic SO3H are carboxylic COH groups. Generally, these resins are replaced with H plus ions of these resins are replaced with Na plus. Okay, so now so this matrix, this line is nothing but what? Matrix. Okay, see, so this line is matrix. So matrix means up to this part, X bond COO minus, this part is known as matrix. And here see, so this part COO minus X COO minus, this is matrix, and is this exchangeable or counter ion. So in short, is represented as like this. So example, exchange with calcium chloride aqueous solution. When we introduce the calcium chloride solution on this resin, what happens? This is what? Matrix. This matrix is contain what? Active cation. So this Na plus counter ion will be replaced with calcium. Equivalent amount of, here see, this is important. So how many Na plus ions are replaced? So for example, 10 Na plus, how many charges? 10 positive charges, 10 cations are replaced with how many cations? How many positive charges? 10 positive charges. So that means each calcium contains 2 positive charges, means 10 Na plus ions are replaced with 5 Ca plus 2 ions. Why? Because here we need to be satisfied this one equivalent amount of cation. So here see, in this example, 2 Na plus ions, those are attached to the matrix, are treated with calcium chloride, that is Ca plus 2. What happens? This matrix of 2 Na plus ions are replaced with 1 Ca plus ion. So this is this one. Next, the resin, here see. So 2 Na taken in n number of times. Here Na, n number of calcium ions. Okay, got it? So we need to be satisfied the equivalent amount of calcium positive charge. The resin having sodium ions produced in the above reaction can exchange those ions with other cations. Okay, so these are the commercially available cation ion exchanges. And next come to this is how it works. So cation ion exchanger. So here see, the binding of protein. Okay, so positively charged proteins binds to the negatively charged beads. So here bead is nothing but what? Matrix. So this is this matrix, this part. COO minus, this part. COO minus is nothing but what? Matrix. So here see, this matrix has active counter ion, that is plus, and when we introduce the amino acids of positively charged amino acids, what happens? This positively charged proteins. So when we introduce the proteins on this surface, what happens? The counter ion, that is Na plus, is exchanged with the proteins. Why? Because these proteins are carrying positive charge. At the same time, negatively charged proteins are what happens? Those are slowly diffused. Why? Because this matrix has what? Negative charge. So this negative charge and this negative charged proteins, those are repelled. So that's why the positive charged proteins are attached to the negatively charged beads. At the same time, these negatively charged proteins are slowly percolated. Percolated. So this is, in short, we can show the representation of cation exchange. Next, anion exchanges. Here see, uh, R 2R Cl. So here the exchangeable counter ion is Cl minus and the incoming ion is SO4 minus 2. So this is resin. This R here, R is represented as a matrix, and this is Cl minus, that is what? Counter ion or exchangeable ion. So this exchangeable ion is exchanged with SO4 minus, but the charge of exchangeable ion is Cl minus. So two Cl minus ions can replace one SO4 minus 2 ion. So that's why he written like this. Okay. And next, commercially available anions. And next, structural type of ion exchange resins. So this is very, very important. Why? Because the structure also matters here. The efficiency of elution depends on the structure of our stationary phase, that is ion exchange. So here we may have four types of ion exchanges on the basis of their structure: pellicular type, porous type, macro, reticular, and surface sulfonated and bonded electrostatically with ion exchange. So pellicular type of ion exchange resins. So the size of those particles is nothing but, so ion exchangers are nothing but a, we can say powder also, granules or powders, whatever it may be. And the size of those particles lies 30 to 40 microns, and with 1 to 2 microns film thickness. Okay, so this is the granule or particle of pellular type resin. So when we when we dissolve this one in water, what happens? This granules or ion exchanger absorb the water and slowly they swells. So after that swelling, what happens? It may form this thickness of the film. So very low exchange capacity due to very small size, and the ion exchange capacity is very, very less. Their ion exchange efficiency is 0.01 to 0.1 milli equivalents per grams. Okay, later I will show the efficiency, how, what is milli equivalent per grams. Okay. Next, second one is porous resin coated with ion exchange beads. Porous resin. So with exchanger beads. So the size of this is porous resin, and this is porous resin, and this is inside is nothing but a beads. The size of this one is 5 to 10 microns. Compared to that one, this is somewhat large, and they are totally porous and highly efficient. Their exchange capacity is 5.5 to 2. But whereas in previous, its size is very less, and so due to less size, its exchanging capacity is less, between 0.1 to zero point 0.1. Next, macro reticular resin beads. So not highly efficient at and very low exchange capacities. And last one is surface sulfonated. So the surface of that resin is coated, contains are sulfonated groups. So that is SO3H, and bonded electrostatically with an anion exchanger. These particles are sulfonated and they are bonded electrostatically with ion exchange resins. So this part is nothing but what? Bead, or you can say matrix or bead. This matrix or bead has SO3 minus. So this is SO3 minus and Na plus. So this is, in short, we can say this whole part is nothing but cation exchanger. Okay. And here see, between these two, that counter ion is replaced with the tertiary amines. These two, between SO3 minus and N plus, what happens? Electrostatical, uh, the, uh, which bond? Electrostatic bond, or we can say ionic bond. They are less efficient and have low exchange capacity. Their exchange capacity is very less compared to first one, pellicular. So that means as per this, we can go with whom, porous resin. Why? Because its exchangeable capacity is very very high. Okay. Okay. So now I will stop this class.